Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come and be interviewed today. And
Thank you.
yeah, just tell me about where you're from and what you're doing.
So currently I'm living in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's where I'm from. And I'm a public high school teacher of 7 years, getting ready to go into my 8th year. And as everyone knows, no one knows exactly what this next school year is going to be like. So basically I'm just preparing like everybody else for the next school year.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So tell us where you how you got started in helping teachers.
Absolutely. So it's something that I've always wanted to do. And when I'm working, I'm, always working with students and helping them, but I see a big need in terms of teachers and how they might need some additional supports in their classroom.
Mhm.
And I've always felt that I've had the ability to do that, but just never really the time. And so once this whole situation happened, we obviously had lots of time on our hands to figure things out. And so I decided, well, why not now? Now is a great time to start working with teachers who need support, with technology, lesson planning, assessment, classroom management, communication, whatever that issue may be for that particular person. I said, now's the time to go ahead and get started. So I've always had a motivation and a desire to do it, but now I've actually got a little bit of time on my hands to be able to.
Okay, great. So are you putting together a digital package? How does your training work?
Absolutely. So my team and I, basically what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what are some of the more pressing issues for teachers. And what we're doing as a result of that is we're creating trainings and working with different organizations to be able to get those trainings out there to the teachers, to administrators, to parents even. Because all of this stuff, especially communication, the training that I'm currently offering now, it is all about communication. And communication is so important because it's the foundation of our success.
Yeah.
If we can communicate effectively and positively, and we're able to influence people for the good, and we're able to help people and clarify things and explain things in a way that everybody can relate to,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And personalize it and tailor it to the individual, then we are going to have a lot of success. So, for example, in my training right now, we emphasize communication with teachers, communication with administrators, and communication with parents. And
Mhm.
as a teacher, I'm pretty sure that every educator can relate to this scenario, but it's kind of funny how as a teacher you can present the same information to two different parents, one being a Gen X parent and one being a millennial parent. And even though you're presenting the same information, you're going to get two totally different reactions from both parents, right? So how is that possible? How is it that you're having, maybe one parent reacting very positively to what you're saying and the other teacher or the other parent maybe being a little adversarial, right? How does that happen when you're presenting the same information?
Okay.
So that's basically what the training is focusing on right now, is that communication piece.
So are you sort of equipping teachers only with the strategies to communicate effectively with parents?
That's a great question. So my focus has always been on the teachers because that's what I do. But as a result of creating this training and working together with my team, I realized that this goes so beyond teachers, and it
Mhm.
affects everybody. It affects CEOs of companies. It affects management. It affects employees. It affects businesses. It affects politics. It affects our relationships with people on a personal level. So even though this training has always, in my mind, been geared towards teachers, it's so applicable and easily tailorable to a wide variety of context.
Okay, so tell me how you foresee it being applicable in other settings then.
Absolutely. So for me, in other settings outside of education, the way I see it is that no matter what industry you're in, the culture of your company or your business or organization, the culture of that is going to be influenced by the way that you communicate, right? So if you're, let's say that you're a business owner and you have hired some millennial employees, or maybe even some Gen Z employees, because you might have hired some high school students or, that kind of thing. How does the communication between you as the business manager, who may be a Gen Xer, how does that communication break down between you and your employees? Because you may feel that you're communicating well, but the critical piece here, the difference between Gen X and the millennials, if we're just speaking strictly about those two generations, is that millennials need to know why you're doing something. You can explain the what, you can explain the how, the where, and the when, and the how much, and all those things. But if you don't explain why you're doing what you're doing, or you've asked them to do what you want them to do, and you're just mandating things one after the other, a millennial is not going to respond well to that. And that's going to create a culture of negativity, maybe even resentment. And you're not going to have high employee retention rates. You're going to have low employee retention rates. And it all stems from communication, right? So that's what I mean when it's applicable to all different types of scenarios.
Yeah, sure. And so when communication breaks down, what impact does it have on the pupils' behavior in the school environment, or even at home?
Oh, that's such a great question. Wow. So when communication breaks down between the teacher and the student, there are so many factors that get eroded. For example, trust. And trust is sort of, next to communication. It's the foundation of everything, right? So if communication has broken down between the teacher and the student might not feel that they can trust their teacher to be able to educate them adequately and give them the information and support that they need. The parent might also feel that way, and that might result in, some complaints and misunderstandings and things of that nature, things that we want to avoid, right, and prevent at all costs. And then, if something does happen, for example, let's say there is a communication breakdown between a millennial teacher and a Gen Z student and a Gen X parent, okay, let's say there is a communication barrier. Well, the question then at that point becomes, how can I restore what I lost?
Yeah.
Right? Or what we lost? How can we restore that? How can we build that bridge again? And what do I need to change about my perception of the people who I'm working with in order to communicate with them effectively and get them back on my team? So it can affect a lot. It's going to affect what you do on a daily basis. It's going to affect the relationships that you have with people, your reputation, the amount of trust people have in you, your credibility as an educator, a business person, as all these different things. It's going to impact all of that, right? So that's kind of how it plays out in the classroom.
Yeah. And obviously, it has a knock-on effect at home as well, and other environments and other relationships with friends and so on.
Yes. Exactly. Yes, that's so true. Because on a personal level, right, it's so funny. When I start talking to a person, and let's say that they don't make eye contact with me right off the bat, I'm not to stereotype, but I pretty much know what generation that person is from, and I won't say which one. But if they don't make eye contact with me, and they might be looking at their phone or something like that, then I know that they're probably this generation, right? And so that's going to impact the way that I communicate with them. And so we do that all the time. And when we're talking and meeting with people, we're always gathering data, and that's a good thing. And sometimes the data we get, sometimes it's not, maybe it's incorrect at times, right? But I'm still learning about the person based on, how they're dressed, the amount of eye contact that they make, the vocabulary that they're using. All these things are going to inform me as a teacher, as a business owner, as, I'm not a parent, but if I were a parent, that's going to influence the way that I communicate with this person because of all this data that I'm gathering. And so it's really just about truly seeing what you see. You know what I mean? So you can see something and miss it, you know what I mean? But if you're truly looking and you know what to look for, then that's going to really help you identify what the motivations are of the person you're talking to.
Yeah, sure. So could you tell us where we can find out more about you? what your social media links are or your website, so that some of the teachers and therapists are here in the UK can get in touch with you if they want? How would they go about that?
Yes, so it's really easy to find me. You can go on Twitter or Facebook, and my Twitter account is my little name, my what's it called, tag name or whatever. I don't know all the technology terms and everything, but my name is Teacher Nikki. That's on Twitter, and Nikki is spelled a little differently. It's teacher and then K-N-I-K-K-I. That's how I spell Nikki. Kind of like if you like basketball, the New York Knicks. You know how New York Knicks is spelled K-N-I? So that's how my name is. So Teacher Nikki, and Nikki is spelled K-N-I-K-K-I. And then on my Facebook page, that's where I am most predominantly active. And so my Facebook page, all you have to do is type in Nikki Hernandez. And then just, you know, you can scroll through my page. Most of my posts are public, and you can click on those and see my videos. And you can also, I have links shared on all my videos where you can schedule an appointment, and we can just chat. We can sit down for 30 minutes and just kind of talk about what some of your challenges may be, what some of your goals are, and things like that. And then I do have a private Facebook group that is just for clients only. So once you do become a client and we start working together, then you'll get access for that. But the easiest place to find me is on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, great. So you'll put the links down below in the comment section, and
yes,
help us. Yep, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you so much. This was great. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Nikki Hernandez, and I am here with the world-renowned teletherapist Beverly Jessup from the UK. I'm so excited to have her with us today.
Oh, nice to be here. Thank you, Nikki, for inviting me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have you. So, Beverly, if it's okay with you, I would like to talk to you a little bit about what you do, why you do it, and why teletherapy, speech therapy in particular, is so needed, especially in today's world where we're, you know, kind of stuck at home. Are you okay with that?
Yes, that'd be great. I've been working as a speech language therapist for 30 years now, and in the last 5 years I've been doing teletherapy. So actually it hasn't been something that has been forced on me, you know, because of the COVID. It's something that I've just been doing anyway. And I started it because I was approached by a client in Italy, and I needed to communicate with him somehow. Obviously I wasn't going to zip off from UK to Italy every week to see him. Now he was in his final year in a mainstream school in Italy, and he had no means of communicating. That sounds a little bit dramatic, but I mean that he had a really severe stammer, and on top of that he had learning disabilities, and he had severe speech difficulty, so it was very difficult to understand what he was saying. So he needed a symbol system, he needed some icons, he needed something that was on an app, and he didn't have any of that. So I had to introduce an iPad with a specific app on it, and I had to show him how to use that. Now, bearing in mind he's bilingual, so he understood Italian and English, and he spoke both languages, but probably not that many words were easy to recognize. So I had to also work with his bilingual assistant, his carer, and he had to pass oral exams. And in Italy, you know, you have your final exams, you have written exams, but a large component is oral exams. And he had 5 presentations to do on Ernest Hemingway, World War One, art history, philosophy, various things, like 5 of them. So I had to jet up on all these sort of things to think, oh, I haven't even read the Ernest Hemingway book, you know, Farewell to Arms, but I had to quickly read that, and then I had to condense it into a presentation at a sentence level that he could understand. So really basic, sort of like 5 books in basic language, with symbols and with grids, so that he could communicate his presentation. And that's that's how I got involved with teletherapy to start off with, and I've just enjoyed it since then.
Wow, that's really amazing. So how were you able to transition from your traditional business model to teletherapy? What was that process like, the transition for you?
Okay, so I mean, I did a bit of a hybrid to start off with. When I started working independently, I was going into different schools, different nurseries, clinics, hospitals, and I was doing so much traveling. Now I live on an island. It's called the Isle of Wight, just south of Southampton, and it's to go across to the mainland, to Southampton or Portsmouth, is quite costly, and obviously it also takes time, and then you've got to take your car over to various places and various schools, so everything takes time and it costs money. And I was all right to do that for a while, but then when I decided to go completely teletherapy wise, in the last 5 years, I had to slowly transition into that, because a lot of my clients sort of said, well, actually, we actually prefer just doing face to face. And so I needed to learn how to convince them. And once I'd convinced them, they were able to see the benefits. They were able to see that they got more involved, parents particularly got more involved in the therapy when it was done via teletherapy than before. So for example, when they used to come to my clinic, sometimes the grandma, instead of the mother, the grandma would actually sit on the session, and then she would be expected to explain to the mother what happened in that half hour. Or you might have the parents would bring the child along for half an hour, and because they had younger siblings, they would disappear off to the shops to entertain those young kids, and then they would come back, and I would quickly explain what I did in that half an hour, give them some worksheets and activities to do, and it wasn't very satisfactory because they didn't really experience the therapy session, but now they're able to experience it and be involved and really understand why I'm asking the child to do certain things in a certain order in the session.
Absolutely. So just for clarity's sake, can you explain to our listeners what teletherapy is specifically?
Okay, teletherapy for me is doing speech therapy online. But occupational therapists and even physical therapists, we call them physiotherapists, might be doing their therapy online. So they have a webcam, and they see their client, like we're doing now, they see their client either through Zoom or Skype or other platforms that allow them to share their resources and manipulate things on the screen.
Absolutely. Okay, that sounds great. And so considering the parents, I know you said it took a lot of effort to get their buy-in. So how exactly did you get the parents' buy-in into this new world of teletherapy?
Well, I guess COVID has kind of forced the issue, really. They've had no choice. But prior to that, I just asked them to just have a go. I think there's a lot of phobia of the unknown, particularly around technology. And if you are a therapist who's feeling that overwhelm with technology, you can bet your bottom dollar, as you would say, that the person on the other side, whether it's a stroke patient or a little child with their parent, they're feeling much more anxious about the whole technology bit. So you really need to know how to reassure them and talk them through the whole tech side, so that if there are any issues, you are speaking language that they understand and they know exactly what to press and when to press it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I can imagine that the technology piece of it was probably your biggest barrier, wouldn't you say, or were there other barriers?
Probably for the parent. I mean, I enjoy technology, but I think some people, don't enjoy it. And I think for the older generation, that is probably a bigger obstacle. But, there are lots of adults out there who've had strokes or who have got other neurological difficulties, and that therapy is quite difficult for them to find. You know, they might have a little bit of that during their time in hospital, and they might have a little bit afterwards, but it's not consistent. So teletherapy proves to be beneficial for that client group, particularly because if they've had any physical problems, you know, maybe they've got paralysis of the right side, or you know, they find mobility difficult. It would be really difficult to get a wheelchair through my clinic door here, but they'll be at home in the comfort of their own home, and as long as you've got someone who is a bit tech savvy, you know, you can encourage them to engage with you.
Right. So I know that you have a training that you've created, not just, obviously, I know you work with your clients and all that, but I know that you have a training that's created specifically for speech therapists, people who do what you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the course is a digital product, so I've put together a training package which has got like a set of videos within a membership site, and it takes them through step by step and on how to set up their teletherapy system, so that speech therapists or students or even speech therapy assistants who have got that experience of working with children face to face are now able to do it on a screen. But if they feel a bit overwhelmed with the technology, then this course will take them through those fears and sort of like equip them with that confidence, and then sort of demonstrate how they can do assessments online, use different types of resources. I've put together like a resource toolbox, and to planning is really important, because one of the things that my clients have told me, and parents have told me, that if you can't wing it on teletherapy, you really can't, and you really need to be very organized, because at the end of the day, it is so different to face. When a child comes into my clinic, normally they'll see the boxes of toys and activities that I might have placed outside, you know, beside me. But when they come into a teletherapy session, they can't see any of my toys. They don't know what's hidden behind different tabs. And so it's really important to be able to know how to engage them and keep them motivated. And then the final bit of all that is to learn how to get more clients, because we're battling with that fear aspect of, oh, I'm not sure whether teletherapy works or not. You've got to be able to know how to market yourself confidently in the realm of social media and getting your website ready. Maybe even sort of like putting together a digital course, because this is like the second digital course that I put together. So I'll be teaching people how to do that and share the knowledge, because I know that there are therapists out there who've got immense knowledge and skills all up here, and it'd be great to have it down in an online way so that other people can access it.
Exactly. Have it, you know, to have it just hidden and, you know, like a hidden treasure where no one can access it, then it doesn't really do, you know, anyone any good. It doesn't benefit anyone. So it's, yeah, you're absolutely right that people need to, you know, they need to get out there and showcase their skills to the world and help people, right? That's what it's all about. So, okay, so for you, I have a two-part question. So the first question I have for you is that if you are a parent and you have a child that needs teletherapy, what should they do? Okay, and then the second question, the second part of this question is, if you are a teletherapist and you need support in this area of, you know, marketing yourself and getting clients and reducing fears of the parents who may be unsure about teletherapy, how can your course specifically benefit them, right? And who do you think that your course is most designated for? So the first question again is the parent. Okay, you have a child who needs teletherapy. What do you do? And then the second question is basically, who is your course designed for?
Okay, so for the parent, the best thing to do is to get in touch with me, and I've left my link down below. And I have a Facebook group called Teletherapy in Action. If you type that into the search bar, you should be able to find me. And I've also got a group for therapists called Teletherapy in Action Secrets. So this is a private group where you can share ideas. I'll pop into there sometimes and I'll be sharing my ideas. So it's really, I'm trying to build up a community of speech therapists so that we feel confident about asking questions as well as supporting one another. And my course link, I will leave that down below as well, so you can get in touch with me, book a call and just have a chat about how you can develop your teletherapy business as a speech therapist. And if you're a parent, then get in touch with me through my Facebook link down below, and we can talk about it in Messenger and see how I can help you. And you can
I love it, Beverly.
Have a little demo.
Exactly, a little demo. That's perfect. Well, you are such a rock star in the world in which you work, in your field and everything, such a pioneer. I know that so many people are incredibly grateful to be working with you. So thank you so much for spending some time with me to talk about what you're offering people and how you're changing the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.